Hey, happy Monday. Thanks for taking a quick minute to check out our weekly update. And unfortunately, I'm coming out of the gate with some not so great news. We have been targeting May 10th, this Wednesday, as this really important date for a few months now because we've been looking for a break in the CPI. CPI is the Consumer Price Index, and if you're not familiar with it, what it is it's the way, one of the ways we track inflation. And we do so by looking at the CPI, which just tracks the prices of a specific list of goods and services to tell us, hey, where's inflation at? And this report on May 10th was supposed to show us the CPI for April. And what we were anticipating was that the number for April 23 would be less than that of April of 22. That would give us lower year over year inflation. Well, unfortunately, some things that just recently happened are probably looking like they're going to change that. First and foremost is the BLS, the Bureau of Labor Statistics. They went in and revised the numbers for April of 2022. How timely, great opportunity to do this. So what that's unfortunately going to show is because they've revised that number downward, we're not seeing that big gap between last year's inflationary number and this year's inflationary number. So that's not going to translate to any celebration for people looking for lower inflation. Also, we've seen some policy come out of OPEC because something having to do with not refilling the strategic oil reserve that has resulted in higher oil prices, which are also impacting us on a month-over-month basis because we did see energy prices, specifically oil prices, higher in April. So those two recent events that we really couldn't predict months and months ago as we looked at this date are unfortunately some really strong headwinds that are probably not going to give us the report we were all happy for, looking forward tomorrow. We weren't anticipating that it was going to be this magnanimous, gigantic drop in pricing, but we were hoping that it was the start of a more well-defined and consistent downward trend. And it doesn't look like we're going to get that just yet. We need a little more time. We've been talking about rates coming down, and they have a little bit, since they really, really peaked last year. And it has been nothing but a straight road down. It's been extremely jagged, extremely challenging. And, if you're a customer out there, a client trying to buy a house, that decision of do I lock or do I float has been a really, really painful and dangerous one, dare I say. And unfortunately, right now, I think you're at a point where you're probably risking more to float than you're, saving yourself to lock. So it's a little scary right now. But again, time will eventually right these things. We do know that shelter inflation is going to continue to come down. That will help. And we know year over year, these numbers will start to improve. It's just unfortunately going to take longer than we all want it to take. And while I'm a little bummed out I couldn't bring better news about the CPI, I do want to share at least one tip for the week for all you folks out there that are looking to buy a home. And that is to make sure you speak with your buyer's agent about your price target. If you go out, especially if you're a first-time home buyer and you get pre-approved, say, for $500,000, and let's say that's the upper end of not only what you can comfortably afford, but also what your lender is willing to approve you for. And you go out, you say, okay, well, I'm going to set my filters on my searches for what houses I want to check out. And you start looking at houses that are listed at $500,000. Well, chances are, if that house has only been on the market for a couple days, and it's listed for $500,000, it's probably going to sell for a significant amount higher than $500,000. I'm basing that on where I am. I'm outside of Boston, and this market is one that's still highly competitive, still very anemic inventory. And at least for where I'm geographically situated, you're not probably going to get that house for $500,000. Now, it's a different story if you see a property that's been in the market for 21 days or a few months. That's a different story. That may be a property that maybe you do have a chance to get in at $500,000 or even less. If a property is not moving in this market, it usually means one of two things. Either A, it was overpriced to begin with and wasn't properly priced in the market, or two, it's got issues and kind of needs some work. Those are generally the two things. But again, I'm not a licensed real estate expert. Make sure you connect with your buyer's agent and you talk about what properties you're targeting, the why and the how behind it. That's about it for me this week. Like I said, bummer on the CPI, but doesn't mean we can't get some good news out of it. We'll hope for the best. And if there's anything else I can do for anybody, feel free to reach out. If you need to reach me directly, this is my contact info. If you want to follow me for more mortgage tips, these are my socials. I hope everyone has a great week. Take care.